Hello everyone, I'm Michelle. Welcome to another video. Today we're going to make this the matching earring to this little, I think it could be considered a holiday or Christmas earring. It's got gold and green. You know, it's a more subtle form of holiday wear. Be perfect if you're wearing a gold dress or kind of a sage green, even a silver dress. Alright? So I'm going to have to try to think of a name to call these earrings. But they are fairly quick and easy earrings. A beginner could easily follow along and do this with me. Alright, so let me gather up my materials and we'll get a list going. This is a project from the Beads at the Potomac Best Bead Box for the month of December. So this is December's box, and this is a project from that. And I just want to show you, with the Best Bead Box you get a pattern. You get a pattern for the, you know, this was Anytime necklace, I believe. Let me get my paper. Yeah, the Anytime necklace. And, boy, it's a lot prettier in person when you make it. It's nice and long. But look at them colors. It turned out really pretty. It took me a minute to even find the clasp. When I was looking at it a couple minutes ago, trying to, you know, get it straight. Because it just blends right in. Yeah, really pretty. Okay, so let's get our material list. Sorry about the voice. You know, I've got this upper respiratory problem right now. So we got 4 of the Czech faceted rounds. The only thing I added was these 2 3mm pearls, and you can even use a seed bead in place of this if you want. Alright, and then we've got 4 of the round trios. They've got the 3 holes, and if you don't have those, I'm sure the duos, you could make those work. I've got 4 of the 6mm fire polish beads, gold lined crystal, and then 8/0 seed beads in the green lined. Alright, now we're going to need a stop bead. I've got stainless steel ear wire. And let me get a seed bead for a stop bead. Oops. And I'm using a size 10 beading needle. And I'm going to leave about an 8-inch tail, because I might use this to sew in on my ear wire. It's always nice to leave a tail that's long enough to use or sew in, depending on, you know, what you might choose to do. Alright, so get all your materials together. Come back and we'll get started. Alright, so let's pick up 1 round trio, 1 4mm faceted round, 1 round trio, 1 faceted round, trio, faceted round, or 4mm bead. Any bead, 4mm bead would work. Round trio and 4mm. Right. So here's what we have. We'll bring those down to our stop bead. And we're going to sew it into a circle. Go through the same hole in that trio that we're already gone through. So it's into a square. That's why I love these multi-hole round beads. Let's just go all the way around and reinforce so we're not loosey-goosey. I like it to be nice and firm or tight, you know, whenever as a base. I like it to be nice and sewn together well. Alright, so we're back at the beginning. Now, let's go through that 4mm. Okay, and we're coming out of that 4mm, and we're going to pick up an 8/0 seed bead, and we're going to go into the next 4mm. And we're going to lay that seed bead right in between the two. Pick up another 8/0 and sew through the next 4mm bead. And we're going to make sure that 8/0 goes right in between those two 4mm. Pick up another one. Go through the next 4mm. And one more. Pick up an 8/0 seed bead, sew through the next 4mm. Alright, so we're going to step up into that 8/0 seed bead. We're coming out of that 4mm, and we're stepping up into that 8/0 seed bead. Alright. And we're going to pick up one of our 3mm beads. I'm using a pearl out of my stash. We're coming this way, the thread's going left. I'm going to go straight up across and go, the thread's coming out the same way. So we're needling towards the left. There we go. And I want to come back down through that pearl. And back through that on the opposite side there, that 8/0 seed bead. Okay, I'm going to come back up through the pearl. I'm going to come down through that seed bead on the left. Alright, I'm going to go back up through the pearl. I'm going to come down through that seed bead on the right. We're bringing them all to the center, towards that pearl. Oops. And then we're going to go back up through the pearl. And that 8/0, if you can get it at the same time. Alright, and so there's our center. Now, coming out of that 8-0, we'll find that closest hole, that first hole that we've been working through of that round trio, right? And then we'll reverse directions coming through that same trio bead, that same round trio, go through the center hole. Right? And then make sure you move your stop bead because it'll mess with your design. Pick up a 6mm fire polish or 6mm bead, and then needle through that next center hole of the round trio. And this, once we go back around, it'll straighten out. Sometimes they want to lay crooked. Alright, let me straighten my thread. Pick up a 6mm, go through the next center hole on the next round trio bead, and kind of try to straighten that bead out to the center. Don't worry too much because the next pass around we'll straighten them out. Alright, pick up a 6mm, go through center hole, pick up the last 6mm and go through that center hole, and then step up. Well, here, just a second. There we go. Step up into that next 6mm fire polish. Alright, now we're going to go back and reinforce. Make sure we go through the center hole on that round trio. Center hole. $6mm. See, that pulls them, straightens them out a good deal. Go through that center hole. $6mm. Center hole in that round trio. $6mm. Center hole. Okay, get there, come back, and we'll do the next step. Okay, we're coming out of that center hole. Let's go through the outer hole, the very last hole toward the edge. We're going to pick up an 8-0, go through the 6mm. Pick up an 8-0, coming out of that 6mm fire polish, go through that last hole or the edge hole, that round duo, or round trio. Pick up an 8-0, go through the next fire polish bead, 6mm bead. Pick up an 8-0. We're just doing the same thing all the way around. Keep picking up your 8-0s and going through the next bead. We are putting these in. You know, so we can use them to do our next step. Alright, let's move the tail thread. Pick up an 8-0. Go through that last outer hole you're going to notice that one side of your design is kind of up top, and then the back is kind of dipped in. And that's the way it should be. Alright, so let's step up and go through that 8/0 bead. Alright, now we're coming out of the 8/0. We'll pick up 3 8/0s. And go through the next 8/0. We're going to pick up 5 8/0s and go into the next 8/0. I'm going to pick up 3 8/0s and sew into the next 8/0. And we're going to pick up 5 8/0s and sew into the next 8/0. I'm going to pick up 3 8/0s, sew into the next 8/0, and we're going to pick up 5 8/0s, sew to the next 8/0. Alright, let's pick up 3 8/0s, sew into this next 8/0. And now we're coming to that last 6/0. So we're going to put our ear wire on, so I couldn't do the 5, so I had to make it 6. So first we're going to pick up 3 of our 8/0s. Alright, I've got this the back of this earring is facing me right now. I'm going to pick up 3mm pearl, and I'm going to pick up the ear wire. Now make sure it's facing the right direction. Since the back of the earring's facing me, I'm going to hold this ear wire like this where the back is facing me. I'm going to pass through the ear wire. And then I'm going to pass back down through that 3mm pearl. And then I'm going to pick up 3 8/0s. 3 8/0 seed beads. And I'm going to come down through this 8/0. Alright, and then I'm going to go through a couple. It's getting caught on my earring. I'm going to come through a couple of the 8/0s, and then I'm going to tie a half hitch knot. And then I'm going to backtrack. That's a little cheat to turn around, change directions. And then I'm going to go through 3 8/0s. Look how loose that looks. I'm going to go up through the purl. I'm going to go through the loop. Let's say this is the back of the earring. Make sure it's laying right. Don't want it twisting around on us while we're wearing them. Okay, I went through the loop of the ear wire. Now I'm going to go back down through the purl. And then the right side here, I'm going to come down through the 3 seed beads. Oops. And then the 4th seed bead, the one that I hooked into or anchored into. Alright. And then we'll come down a few more. Actually, this time we'll go all the way around just to reinforce. Come through all those 8/0s. Don't skip any. Go around the outside edge, as well as the ones that we put in to anchor to, in between our 6/0s and our round trios. So come all the way through, reinforce these 8/0 seed beads, and then when you get back at the top, go through one more time. Go up through the 3, the purl, through your, make sure your earring's laying right. Go through the loop of your ear wire, back down through the purl, back down through the, the 3, and then I'll come back and tie off with you, or sew off. Alright, now what we'll do is we'll go underneath, between the 2 beads, underneath the thread, and tie our half-hitch knots all the way around. Needle through the loop. Make sure it goes down in between the right 2 beads, and then sew through a couple of beads. Alright, and then do it again. Go under the thread bridge, in between the 2 beads. Pull down till you have a small loop, needle through that loop, and make sure your thread goes where you want it to, and then just sew through a couple more beads. And do another half hitch. Okay, do the same thing with your tail thread. Okay, let me show you. Make sure you take off your stop bead, and you're coming out of this center hole of this round trio. Go into the middle hole, and then you can come back into the outer hole, or you can just jump over to the outer hole. And let's see, it'd be better to go through the center hole, come through the outer hole, go through this 8/0 seed bead in between, 6/0, 8/0, And then, you know, just start tying your half-hitch knots like we're doing right now around. Alright, so under the thread bridge. Alright, so go ahead and sew your tail threads and your working thread in. Come back and we'll look at our earrings. Alright, real quick. You know, I told you to go through the center of this. Go up through the center and come back this way and start tying off. No, I want you to jump all the way to the outer hole. So you'll be going this direction to tie off. Because if you're like me, I'm not getting back through that purl. If you come this way, you can go through that 6. Instead of going up through your ear wire, you can go this way, straight across. So it's up to you. Another good point is when you tie your knots, like tie them right before these anchor beads. The ones that we put in between the 2 bigger beads and then added the others 2. Tie them close to those anchor beads. Because if we tie a half-hitch knot out here, it's not as going to be as stable. Like I just tied, like tie them right before the anchor bead and go through the anchor bead is what I'd do. And then come through these 3 and then tie another one right before that anchor bead. And because that's the most like that's a sturdy spot, it's not flimsy, you know. I just think it's a better place to tie your knots. Alright, so when I'm finished, I'll come back and look at our earrings and I'll think of a name for them. Okay, here's our Christmas time or anytime earrings. I just thought I'd make something where if you wanted to make a quick gift or a quick pair of earrings from your best bead box or your stash before Christmas time, these are easily made in, you know, an hour or 2, if that. Okay, everybody, thanks for watching. Have a Merry Christmas, and I'll see you in the next video.